All right, today we're going to take a ride with one of literature's most fascinating and mysterious figures, Emily Dickinson. We're diving deep into her masterpiece, Because I Could Not Stop for Death. And this isn't just a poem that talks about death, no. It literally takes death out for a carriage ride, and in doing so, it transforms our biggest fear into this surprisingly civil and totally unforgettable journey. So let's just start with the main idea, which is pretty startling when you think about it. I want you to forget the whole Grim Reaper thing, the skeleton with the scythe. Dickinson asks us to imagine something completely different. What if death wasn't some terrifying force? What if he was, well, a polite, unhurried companion who shows up in a carriage just to escort you? Okay, these opening lines, they're just brilliant. The speaker is too busy living her life to even think about dying, which, let's be honest, is a feeling we can all relate to. But death isn't pushy or scary. He's patient. He kindly stops for her. That one word, kindly, just flips the entire script. It turns what we expect to be this moment of sheer terror into an encounter with a gentleman caller. So you gotta understand, this carriage ride isn't some mad dash to the finish line. Nope. It's a slow, deliberate journey. And what they're seeing out the window, it's not random at all. It's a symbolic tour through all the stages of a life that's already been lived. Their first stop is a schoolyard. We see children playing, just bursting with energy and life. This is the beginning, right? It represents the dawn of life, the pure, simple joy of being young. But here's the crucial part. The speaker isn't at the school. She's just passing it. These incredibly vibrant scenes are now just memories, and she's seeing them with a kind of detachment from inside the carriage. The past is literally passing her by. Okay, so the journey continues, and the scenery outside the window starts to shift. After leaving behind those memories of childhood, they pass by these fields of gazing grain, all ripe and full, just waiting for the harvest. And this, right here, is such a brilliant way to show the progression of life. These fields are all about maturity, the prime of your life. It's a time of work, of growth, of seeing the result of everything you've put in. We've moved from the play of childhood into the productive years of being an adult. And then you can feel the shift. The light starts to fade. As they pass the setting sun, the whole mood of the poem gets a little darker. The day is ending, and symbolically, so is the speaker's life. A chill literally enters the air, a physical sign that the journey is getting close to its final stop. So now the journey reaches its earthly conclusion. But the destination isn't some grand palace or a terrifying pit. No, it's described with this chilling yet surprisingly calm sense of familiarity. I mean, just look at this description. The grave isn't even called a grave. It's a house, a swelling of the ground. Dickinson uses this totally mundane language of architecture to describe the final resting place, and by doing that, she strips away all the usual terror and frames it as just another home. And notice the detail here, the roof, the cornice. These architectural terms create this feeling of stability, of permanence. It's not a pit of despair, it's a quiet, final home, an understated, permanent place to dwell. So why was this portrayal of death so incredibly radical? Well, to really get its impact, you have to remember the world Dickinson was living in. It was a world with some very, very rigid ideas about faith and judgment and what happens in the afterlife. So, back in the Victorian era, death was usually painted as this violent, terrifying final judgment, a moment of reckoning. But Dickinson, who famously carved out her own unique spiritual path, she just turns this whole tradition on its head. She presents mortality not as a grim reaper, but as a civil guide leading us through a calm, patient, and totally natural transition. It's a truly radical act of acceptance. And that's really where the immense power of this poem comes from, right? It's in this paradox. It's both chilling and comforting at the same time. It holds the beauty of a life being remembered and the macabre reality of the grave in this perfect, delicate balance. And somehow it offers this strange sense of comfort when you're facing the ultimate unknown. But hold on, the journey isn't actually over when they get to the grave. In the final stanza, Dickinson pulls back the curtain and reveals the true destination, and it's one that's far, far beyond the physical world. So after this entire journey, passing childhood, maturity, the end of life, and arriving at a grave, you're probably thinking, okay, that's it, story's over. But Dickinson, oh no, she has one last absolutely mind-bending twist waiting for us. And there it is. That final line completely reframes everything we've just read. The carriage wasn't just heading to a burial plot. The whole time, the horses have been pointed toward eternity. This one word, eternity, changes everything. The ride isn't an end, it's a transition. But notice, Dickinson's idea of eternity isn't the typical heaven or hell from religious teachings. It's something way more abstract, more mysterious. It's like a timeless state of being, a realm that exists beyond all the clocks and calendars of human life. The grave was never the final destination. It was just a doorway. And that right there is what makes this poem so incredibly timeless. By turning death into this gentle, civil journey toward an unknowable eternity, Dickinson challenges all of us to rethink our own fears. She's asking us to think about the end not as a final stop, but as a transition. So the question she leaves us with is this: if the ride itself is this calm, how does that change the way we think about the destination?